not tripping. You said they gonna be all right. So 866. Oh, I'm sorry. 800.
Just trying to figure it out.
662. 4357, y'all. This is going to be the number to.
Never let your faith go. Woo! Never let your faith go. I've been there before, so confused, don't know which way to go. Stressed out, world so crazy, might as well stay in the house. Fear trying to rise up.
So basically with the gambling, I just put that number in there, you guys, for the substance abuse and mental health services, the hotline, 1-800-662. Like I said, if you hear anything that I say today and you're like, you know, I want to hear a little bit more about that, call that number. They'll help you out. But yeah, so basically, what causes an addiction to gambling? So someone, like I said yesterday, if you're driving home and every day you've got this habit of stopping at Best Bet or the Hard Rock Cafe or this little place where they do the gambling. Yeah, my sister just rolled up in here. Hey, Nay, my sister's here, my big sissy. You know, so if you're finding that, you know, that's a habit, like I said before, it starts to be a pattern, then it turns into a habit. Morning, sissy. Love you, Nay. Came right after you. Hey, y'all, come on in. But yeah, y'all, so restlessness, boredom, hardworking people, and competitive people. Does that sound familiar? Like somebody who would probably end up getting into gambling? Hey, J Music. Right, hey J Music, you just in time. I just mentioned you and talked you up because I mentioned you twice as the person. Remember yesterday you mentioned about the lottery tickets being an addiction too, and I've seen that, right? Somebody who goes, they don't care how much money they got left, they're gonna use that last little bit because they believe they're gonna win. But like I said, restlessness, boredom, that can lead to it, but it's also that person sometimes who's extremely hardworking and very competitive. You know, I've been with people in Vegas who cannot stop. Like, you know, they really are competitive like that. But you have to wonder, that's that fine line. Is that competitiveness or is it an addiction, right? You have to ask, like, okay, wait a minute, what's causing and fueling this? You know, are we really gonna win? Or, you know what I'm saying? Then when you see their reaction to the loss, that's another sign. So I've been around people. I remember in college I knew someone who did the online betting, which it was illegal, and it could still be illegal. I'm not sure how that all works, but they were doing online betting, and every time they lost, it was like a whole different person, like night and day, and it was pretty scary. Genie in the bottle. Ah, Jay Music, you're genie in the bottle. So crazy. But yeah, so I saw that firsthand, y'all, when that person loses. And let's be honest, those people with NFL season, right, NBA season, when you're gambling hard and you about to put your whole mortgage up on the line because, you know, and then when you lose, your family, everybody sees a whole different side. Saved by grace. Okay, I see Timothy Simmons. You said you were saved by grace. I did it every day. The illegal bug and the legit. I'm not sure if I understand that, but I think I know what you're trying to say. But yeah, so like I said, Best Bet is a place here in Jacksonville, and they do the dog racing, and it's interesting. Same thing with cigarettes. You'll see the disclaimer before or after. Where they'll say, here's the number to get help. And the same thing with Best Bet. It'll say if you have an addiction to gambling right after the commercial. And it's so weird to me because I'm always like, you know, even with me with alcohol, back when I was still starting my journey, it was hard to see those commercials and see all the movies where people just drinking and everybody's drinking all the time. You have to really shield yourself. So I think it's interesting, you know, when you see those commercials and it's like, well, if you're struggling, call this number. That's the last thing at that moment. You're like feeling like you want to go gamble real quick. So gambling activates the reward system, you guys, just like some of the other addictions we've talked about, right? So it's that reward center. So basically when you do this, you start to feel these certain hormones, right? And what happens when you win? Okay, I got you, Timothy. You were gambling every day. So you know what I'm talking about, right? So you know that feeling of like, gosh, I always do it sideways so y'all can see. Timothy had a trigger or whatever it was, then you went to gamble, right? So it's always trying to disrupt that pattern. And Timothy, yesterday I was talking about, you know, your route home, right? You probably had to change a lot of stuff up, right? When I stopped drinking, I was telling them, Nene, you weren't on here yesterday. My sister's on here now, y'all. I would call my sister when I left group therapy sometimes and talk to her on the way home so I could be distracted from that ABC liquor store. I'm like, ooh, I want to stop and get some liquor. You know, but when you're on that mission, y'all, competitive addiction, Eugene, yep. And that's the thing, we're competing with ourselves first though, right? But the gambling, that's a real, like if you have that competitive nature, that's a hard one to break, because that gambling is fueled by that money from those sports bets. Yep. And 12-7, that's why I'm mentioning it, right? Because we don't even think about that. Remember how I kept saying food? Food. I'm talking about food. Food is flying below the radar. We always talk about addiction and it's like alcoholics, drug addicts, blah, blah, blah. No, it's a bunch of other stuff under that umbrella. And like I said, with the sports betting, 12-7, right now, it's NFL season. You know how many people betting on that Super Bowl that's gonna be in Vegas? In Vegas? Yeah, it's about to be off the chain over there.